Isn't it strange that I had to come to prison to finally feel safe? On January 24th, 11 days after her husband, Susan Wright turned herself into police with every intention of pleading not guilty. And when Susan took the stand, it was obvious that for a year she had been prepping. She offers up the same exact story. The prosecution sees holes that would convince them that Susan wasn't being totally honest. Number one, he had ties on his wrists and feet. Number two, the wax near his groin. She thinks this doesn't look like a situation where someone fought back from self-defense. She thinks Susan decided a couple days earlier, it's me or him. He's gonna kill me if I don't kill him. So she lured Jeff into the bedroom, seduced him with what he thought was gonna be, tied him up, and then started killing him. This is where the prosecution comes in. They said this was premeditated. Also, Jeff had a $200,000 life insurance policy. How was she gonna provide for her kids? And the prosecution say this relationship could have been toxic. Is this domestic abuse defense exaggerated? The prosecution had one more trick up their sleeve. One more attempt at proving Susan wasn't telling the truth. And to pull it off, it required them to bring the Wright's actual bed to the courtroom. Then she asked another young male prosecutor from her team to step up and lie down on the mattress, and then she climbed on top of him to show a reenactment. She tied both of his hands to the bedpost, took the actual knife from evidence, and began recreating her own version of what happened that night, the prosecution's theory, to give the jury a visual stimulant of like, this could happen, this could be real. But the jurors called it the truth. After 5 hours of deliberation, they came back with a verdict. They found Susan Wright guilty of in the first degree. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Susan has since said that her defense kind of failed her at trial. They had a lot of regrets about how it was handled. They also weren't aware of a sworn statement given by one of Jeff's ex-girlfriends 10 months before the trial. Her name was Misty Michaels, and she said he was abusive towards her as well. She even filed a police report, so there was evidence to back it. So in November of 2004, Susan and her new lawyer, Brian, began filing appeals. He also argued that Kelly Siegler's courtroom reenactment should not have been allowed, but after a judge also heard Misty Michaels, they granted a new sentencing hearing for Susan Wright. In 2009, a court ruled that Susan's counsel was in fact ineffective. They shaved 5 years off her sentence. So in 2020, after being denied parole twice, Susan Wright was released from prison. And that is the case of Susan Wright.